Hey everyone, my name is Sophie from Sophisticated Organization. Welcome back to another Sophisticated Saturday where together we work through my to-do list and get stuff done around the house. This is an after dark Sophisticated Saturday because it is a little bit later at night, but I still want to get a whole bunch of stuff done with you and share what I'm doing on this Saturday evening. The first thing I was starting off by doing was to bake a cake, and this is kind of a family recipe, so bear with me with the instructions here. I don't have a link to it or anything, but you'll see in the mixing bowl I'm adding in a bunch of ingredients which I'll list on the screen here, and you are going to put it in a mixing bowl on low just to combine, and then bump it up to high speed, probably about the second to highest speed on your mixer, especially if you have a KitchenAid mixer like I do, and you need to mix it for exactly, now this recipe is underlined, exactly 7 minutes. So put it on high for 7 minutes and let it whip.
I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day, 'cause I found my way.
After that, you're going to grease your pan, and this cake apparently goes best in this pan. I am not arguing with it. The relative who has this recipe sent me this pan too and told me to make it in it. She made it for the brunch after my wedding and I loved it, so she sent me the recipe and this cake pan as well. So you're gonna put half the mixture in this pan, then sprinkle with a generous amount of cinnamon sugar, pour the rest of the batter on, and then another layer of cinnamon sugar. With that first layer, you can swirl a knife through it so it gets a nice little pattern on it, and then with the second one you can just sprinkle it on top. The recipe instructions do say that she typically uses about half or 3/4 of a full bottle of cinnamon sugar. There's no actual measurement to this. I guess this is kind of just what family recipes are like.
I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay, 'cause I found my way. 'Cause I found my way.
Then you're gonna bake it widthwise in the middle of the oven for 52 minutes at 350 degrees. Since I have 52 minutes, I am going to pop upstairs and get a little bit of my laundry done.
My way, my way. I found my way. I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day, 'cause I found my way. I found my way.
I was catching up with a friend this night, so I had my phone with me on speakerphone and I was just chatting with her while Owen was asleep. I was trying not to talk too loud because Owen's room is right next to the guest room. Even though he has a sound machine, I don't want to be super loud and wake him up. And I should also address the elephant in the room, I guess. If you haven't watched some of my recent videos, or if you don't follow me on Instagram, I did break my finger, so that's why I have a brace on my hand. I have a splint on my pointer finger on my left hand. We were in the middle of dinner and Owen wanted some more applesauce, so I tried to reach behind me and grab the jar of applesauce off the kitchen countertop, and it started slipping. So I went straight forward to try and stop it from falling off the countertop, jammed my finger into the countertop, and apparently broke it. So I have to have this splint on for a couple of weeks, and just found out that I don't need surgery, which is great news because that was a possibility that I could need surgery. So I'm going to slowly start weaning myself off of the splint. I'm going to use a smaller splint and then start buddy taping my fingers together. I was able to finish up folding my white laundry in time and still had plenty of leftover time, since 52 minutes is kind of a long time to fold laundry. So I'm going to do some cleaning up of the kitchen. I had also just gotten groceries earlier this evening, so I'm going to put some things away and try and clean up the pantry a little bit as well.
You're so sure I'll stick around. Oh, my heart drops when you play around. How can you be up when I'm done? Don't wanna think about it right now. Maybe you just wanna be friends, but there's a vibe when we are talking. Maybe you just wanna pretend, but I can read between the lines. Even if I can't deny that all the things you said are hurting, still wanna be with you. I think you want it too.
Another thing I had on my to-do list was to descale my Keurig. You can buy descaling pods or descaling solution, but you can also use vinegar if you've never tried this hack before. I am going to pour some vinegar in there and start to run just vinegar cycles until it clears out. And then after that, I'm going to dump out the vinegar or any remaining vinegar that's in there and just run a bunch of hot water cycles. So I'm going to do that as I continue to clean up the kitchen.
Yeah, his baby said that they don't got a future like it burns. So give him something worse to kill his head with, make him forget somehow. Might be that another day she would have wished he stayed, but they're done. Sorry, this won't be enough this time. Yeah, he's calling all his friends to get some action and distract him right now. He's fine. Got Lucy on the line, let's get this started. Where's the party tonight? I feel good, nothing weighs me down. I can't believe my luck right now. Red eyes while he said, don't you wanna have fun? Fool around with someone.
Over the weekend, I like to make the week ahead as easy as possible. I also cook meals for the weekend. So I was going to prep a salad that I know will stay good for a little bit, especially because I'm not going to be putting the dressing on it. I am making a Brussels sprout kale salad, or kind of a variation of it. I will link in the description box the recipe that I'm loosely using. So I'm using the Brussels sprout idea. I'm also using the dressing. I don't have all of the ingredients, but if you do follow this recipe to the T, I have made it many, many times that way and absolutely love it. But it's kind of fun to just make a little variation on it with the ingredients that I already have at home. If you haven't made salad dressings at home, or it's not something you do regularly, I always make salad dressings at home. I very rarely purchase them from the grocery store. Honestly, if ever. Some of my favorite ones have tahini in them, which this one does have, but you can also even just make a really basic balsamic vinegar dressing. Those are great. I do balsamic, olive oil, sometimes a little bit of honey, fresh garlic, and salt and pepper, and Dijon mustard always brings it together. So you'll see I added in some romaine lettuce, and then I got some pre-made store-bought chicken. So often I make my own shredded chicken breast, but today I took the short way out, which is fine to make those shortcuts. It is a mostly homemade meal minus that part, and then I put the top on and stuck it in the fridge. Believe it or not, I still have time to make the icing while the cake is finishing baking in the oven. This icing is pretty simple. It is 1.5 cups of powdered sugar and 1 teaspoon of butter extract. If you didn't catch it, I used the butter extract in the cake, and yes, I bought the butter extract specifically to make this cake. You'll probably make this cake multiple times. So if you can't find it at your grocery store, I will also link it in the description box if you want to purchase it online, which I did. Then you're also going to add in about 2 tablespoons of whole milk. Add it in gradually just to make sure you have enough milk to get the right consistency. You want it to drip over the cake, but you don't want it to be runny. So the recipe says sometimes use a little bit more milk, sometimes use a little bit more powdered sugar, and it goes back and forth. The cake was done, so time to pull it out of the oven and let it cool. You want to let it cool completely, and then you can invert it on tin foil and then flip it back over. Another component of that salad recipe is sweet potatoes, and I was going to make those as well in advance. They are hearty and will stay just fine in the fridge. And not only am I going to use them on the salad, but Owen will love having some sweet potatoes, so it's kind of a win-win recipe.
Wait a second, take it slow. Wait a second, don't you know? You're messing with my sense of time. And you are always
All I'm doing for the potatoes is peeling them, then I'm going to slice them and dice them and cover them in olive oil and some spices. Again, I do this really loosely. The recipe for the salad does have all of the details on how to do this, but roasting sweet potatoes is pretty simple, so I'm doing all of this by memory except for when I'm going to make the salad dressing.
hold on. You must be playing tricks with time.
Something I do every night, not just on Saturdays, is cleaning up the kitchen table after dinner and cleaning up Owen's high chair and where he eats. It is not just actually in the evenings, but it's multiple times a day after every meal. I try and give it at least a little bit of a good wipe down because he tends to drop and or throw food, which when it's wet, sticky food, it is much harder to clean off if you don't get to it right away. But as you can see, Owen's already asleep, so I did let it sit there for a while, which most nights that's kind of just what happens. If you've been watching some of my day in the life videos, you know that most evenings Jim will take Owen upstairs to take a bath, and while Owen's taking a bath, that is the time that I use to clean up the kitchen and try and tackle this spot pretty quickly, especially because with a little toddler, I don't want him walking over here and starting to pick up some leftover food off the floor and start to eat it. But this night, Jim was home super late. He had a work event, so it was just me at the house. So I had to wait till Owen was asleep. And then after that, I also wanted to pick up the living room. Another thing I do every single night, regardless of what day of the week it is. It is always so messy after a day of playing and on a weekend, us hanging out on the couch and doing a lot of family activities in here. It seems like it would take a long time to pick this up, but it really doesn't take long at all. And it makes me feel so much better when I wake up in the morning to a clean living room and a clean kitchen. I had one more load of laundry here. I did a load of towels, so I'm going to pull those out and put them away. If you're wondering why our washing machine and dryer are pulled out, we had a pipe burst around Christmas and still have not taken care of all of the leftover construction that needs to happen in this room where all of the damage was. I'm doing a little bit of organizing in Owen's bathroom. He got some new swim diapers in a bigger size, so I moved the smaller ones to the smaller container and then the bigger size to the larger container because we have so many the top doesn't even close. But good to do a quick organizing project. Now that the cake has completely cooled, I can go ahead and drizzle over my icing. Kind of a fun, unique shape of the cake. It's a little bit like a coffee cake flavor. It is so decadent and delicious though. You have to try this. Not least, I am going to get a late night workout in. I was wearing my workout clothing all day long and hadn't had a chance to get in a workout. So I wanted to squeeze it in. It doesn't matter what I do. I try to move my body every day. It doesn't always happen, especially during the work week because I get so busy. But on the weekends, I try and carve out time. Typically, Jim and I go to the gym together in the mornings on Saturdays and Sundays, and they have a daycare there. So we bring Owen, get our workout in there, and then just take care of it. And we have the rest of the day to enjoy because we go pretty early, usually around 8 o'clock, both Saturday and Sunday, but didn't have a chance to do that today. I actually did not make an appointment in advance, which you have to do, so my fault there. I did decide to do a total body workout today, and I'm starting with the abs because abs always feel a little bit easier for me. I like the fact that I can sit down for the most part with a lot of ab exercises, so I am starting with those as a way to just gear myself up a little bit more because I have some leg exercises a little bit later that require some more jumping and high impact stuff, which I wasn't feeling totally ready for when I got down to the basement and started working out. This workout was pretty quick. I did all of these moves and then repeated it a second time. So it took me maybe 20-25 minutes to do it. And then I am going to hop on the treadmill and just walk and watch a show and finish out my night that way. So that is all for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed today's Sophisticated Saturday video, evening edition. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and until next time, I will see you guys later.